You have a superpower that you are not tapping into. In fact, it may be acting as a kryptonite against you. That's what we're doing on this 3-part series of the Halting Winter podcast. We are helping you unlock the potential of your superhero power. Thanks for tuning in to the Halting Winter podcast. I'm your host, Seth Winterhalter. Would love it if you checked us out. Follow us. You can follow me on all social media platforms at Seth Winterhalter. You can follow Halting Winter. Halting Winter is a business coaching company helping business owners and business leaders unlock their own potential, both their personal potential as leaders and owners, but also the potential of their business to continue to grow and scale. If you are interested in unlocking your potential and your business's potential so that you can 2x revenue year after year, hit me up. Let's chat. Go to haltingwinter.com and book a call today. Want to dive into this topic again? This is part 2. Go back and listen to episode 1, and that will help you unlock the power in your day. Today, we're going to unlock the power of our weekend. And what is this superhero power that we're talking about? It's the power of rest and rejuvenation. Rest and rejuvenation. It's so interesting. We live in 2023, a time where we are just surrounded by all these tools, all these things that help us be able to make our life so much easier, right? The microwave, airplane transportation, Amazon Prime, and 2-day, if not right away delivery. We have all these things making life easier, and it's supposed to save us time and effort. And yet, I believe we live the most frantic, stress-filled, non-restful life out of any generation, out of any time period of humanity. That doesn't make sense. Something is broken here. And that's why I think this podcast series is so important. How do we unlock the super power of rest? Because we know we need it. We know that we need rest. We know because of, not only studies, but just experience. If you look up the number one way to torture people, what is it? It's deprive them of their sleep. If you want to get the answers out of someone, just lock them in a cell with metal music going on 24 hours a day until they crack. And trust me, it won't take long for them to crack. You've seen the commercial, the Snickers commercial. What is it? You're not you when you're hungry. Well, trust me, you are not you when you don't get sleep. And you know this, especially the older you get, the more crazy you get when you have a bad night's sleep. This is why, right, we're kind of delaying the age of parenting now. We have many more parents having their first kids when they're in their late 30s, early 40s. And let me tell you, I was, how old was I? I think I was 31, maybe 32 when I had my first kid. And I remember, man, that was a shock. Just the lack of sleep you get those first 5 months, maybe even longer. I can't remember. I have now it's 15 years later. I have a 2-year-old, and trust me, having that 2-year-old, the last 2 years, having him at this age with that lack of sleep is infinitely worse. It is, man, you deprive me of sleep now, and I am a hot mess. It was easy to recover in my younger years from a lack of sleep. It is way harder now. I need sleep. I need good sleep. I don't need as much sleep. That's what's interesting, but I do need good sleep. And so, are you getting good sleep? And not just good sleep, are you getting good rest, good rejuvenation? So go back and listen to the first podcast. We talked about the 3 different aspects. We talked in the last podcast about your day. Are you getting good sleep, but do you have good wake up routines and good go to bed routines to maximize your sleep and to maximize your rest? Remember, rest isn't just sleep, it's other components around that. Today, I want to talk about your weekend. What does your weekend look like? Less about rest and rejuvenation. I hope that it's a good time. The weekend is a good time to catch up on your sleep. I wouldn't recommend sleeping more than 8 hours, though. I think sleeping more than 8 hours at any one time, probably, unless you're very, very sick, is probably not the best way to actually recoup. It is better to still get your 7, 8 hours, whatever you get, whatever you need, whatever is your best sleeping rhythm and pattern on a regular nightly basis. Better better to get that on the weekend and then take a nap or do some restful activities that are more rejuvenating to you on the weekends than just sleep the weekend away. I would not think, and I think that many people who've studied sleep and rejuvenation and rest would agree that just oversleeping, unless you maybe if you had a really taxing week, and you hit it really hard and got really good sleep and got 4 deep cycles of sleep, so you probably slept 9 to 10 hours. That may be a good thing, but it's not a good thing. If you're running that race every weekend, that means your week is just chaotic, and that's doing more damage than probably even sleep can help you recover from. So, but I want to talk about the other components of a weekend. When we look, here's the issue. We have a tendency, and you tell me if you have this. You can tell me in the comments or on socials if you feel this pressure that we kind of we hit the work week and we are just running for the weekend. I'm just waiting. Friday can't come soon enough, right? TGIF, thank God it's Friday. We just need Friday to get here so we can get to the weekend. But the problem is we slam into the weekend and fill it with all kinds of things that don't actually give us rest and rejuvenation and refreshment. So then we slam into Monday like it's a brick wall, and then it's like, brr, and again, thank God it's Friday. We're just waiting for Friday. But the problem is Saturday and Sunday don't really do anything to help us then enjoy Monday and actually have a good week so that we're not desperate for Friday. What can we do on the weekends? How can you reset physically, mentally, and emotionally? The first thing I want to just say is be careful that you don't fill the weekend with projects. Yes, as you become an adult, as you take on more responsibility, home ownership, children, etc., there are things that will take up our spare time, our personal time. There's home projects that need to be taken care of. There's kid events that we need to go to. But can we just have a real conversation right now? If every stinking weekend is filled with volleyball tournaments and soccer tournaments and ballet rehearsals and recitals, can I just say, stop it? Like, stop it. It is not healthy. It is not healthy for the child, and it's not healthy for you. You are not... this pressure of, my kid has to have all these experiences and do all these things. Listen, when I grew up, you had like 2 practices or rehearsals a week. Like this whole weekend, it's just, I believe it's money making. They're just trying to milk you out of your money. And so stop that. B, it cannot be helpful for these kids. It's definitely not helpful for you to run ragged on the weekends and then limp back into work. So just stop with the whole worshiping of experience for your kids, even experiences for you. Yeah, go have fun, go make memories, but be careful of how much time you're going to devote to that. It's the same thing with projects, right? You have home projects, you have things that need to get done, but really strategize and go, I can give this many hours to that, and that's it. I'm not going to get in the weeds. And I think that's part of the problem. We're like, well, I need to do a deep clean of the house, and I need to get this done. And so we just kind of limp our way into it. We kind of walk our way into it. There's no set time frames. We're just kind of going to do it. And there's no urgency to it. There's no set timeline. And so we all of a sudden we wake up and Saturday's over and we haven't even really done the project. We've kind of tinkered around with it, but because we didn't set some boundaries on it, because we didn't say, hey, I'm going to give 2 hours to this. And it is what it is. That's all I can give to it because I have other things I want to do. I want to go out on my back patio and just read for a couple hours. I want to spend some time with my children with some intentional just conversation. I want to spend an hour. We're going to go have a tickling contest. We're going to go swim in the lake, and we're going to go on we're going to have a picnic lunch together. And it just like in that, be careful, because the other pendulum swing is then that's right. We got to be so planned that you get out the Excel chart and hour by hour. I'm not saying that either. But have some kind of intentionality so your weekend isn't sucked up with just the pressure of projects or the pressure of we've got to do this, or we got to go on it's the third weekend of the month. We always do epic hikes on the third weekend of the month. Cool. Is it rejuvenating and resting for you, or is it something that's on the calendar and we have to do it because we're a hiking family and we can check that off the box and then we get to tell people about it and it makes us feel good and worth and value, but I'm tired and spent and it didn't really do anything for me. And this is also the issue with just living in an Instagram, TikTok world where it's like we have to show people what we're up to. So there's a pressure to like do it for the gram instead of actually doing it for the enjoyment of it, because it actually is resting and refreshing. And like, I've kind of stopped. I went through a season where I just stopped posting anything on social media, basically, about my personal life. I just got tired of feeling like there was pressure to, people, man, I'm so inspired by your gym videos, and oh man, that's awesome. I want to inspire, but I also don't want to feel pressure like I have to take a video every time I go to the gym. I go to the gym for me, not for you. So like, although I would love to inspire and love to encourage you to be healthy, that's not why I go to the gym. Like, I go to the gym for me, and it was becoming a pressure. Like, I got to do a certain exercise and get a certain shot, and I couldn't get the shot. So then I was frustrated. What? I'm frustrated by doing something that's only in my schedule to bring me health? No. Sorry, not today. Like, that's my time. That is no one else's time. And if it can be a help and an encouragement, awesome. But I'm not going to have any of that be a pressure to me. Same thing like with cooking. I love to cook, but there felt a pressure. I got to capture everything. I remember cooking once, and I got so disappointed that I forgot to take one picture. Like, I was taking kind of the series, here's the raw food and it's the prep food. Now it's cooking, and now we're dishing it, and here's the final project. And I missed one of those steps. I didn't take a picture of one of those steps. And I was so like frustrated. It like made the whole event bad for me. And I was like, what's happening here? Like, this is supposed to be fun. It was just supposed to be a fun experience, not a pressure. And so be careful that we're not filling our weekend with things that are for everyone else and not ourselves. Be careful that you're not even doing those things that give you rest and refreshment for others. That there's another pressure. Do things so that you fill up your tank. I think you need to do that physically, right? If you work with your mind, how can you recharge with your hands? Maybe you enjoy gardening and doing some of those projects. If they bring you joy, if they bring you rest and refreshment, then do them. That's awesome. If you work with your hands, maybe reading, maybe painting, tinkering, again, figure it out. You figure out what really gives you rest and refreshment. What can you do to go into Monday with a smile on your face instead of exhaustion on your face? What does that look like mentally? I want to encourage you this. I think one of the reasons our weekend is sabotage is because we don't have a good end of the work week. We don't have, I think everyone on Friday should take the last at least 30 minutes of your workday to assess the week and plan the next week. Assess the week, what went on, what were your numbers, what were, what worked, what didn't work, and then what are you going to do next week? How can you at least get Monday dialed in so that you have a plan to hit the ground running? Why is this important? So that your brain can shut off work over Saturday and Sunday. One of the reasons you don't sleep well, and one of the reasons you're constantly kind of coming back to the computer and seeing what's going on, is because you didn't shut off work. And now there's kind of an anticipation for, well, I got to know what's going on so that I know, right? Monday's coming. Well, Friday, I already have a plan for Monday. I know what I'm going to check up on. I know what I'm going to do. I know how I'm going to execute. I know the 3 big things. I know the 3 big things for the week that are coming up. So I can totally shut my mind off and sleep and rest and enjoy it and know that work is ready to go on Monday. Like, shut off from work. You need boundaries in your life that allow you to be a person, not just a profession. And one of the reasons, here's the key stat that tells us that many people struggle with this. Look at the average age of men that they retire and they die. Well, I think the average age of men that die after they retire is like 2 years after they retire, because their whole work is their whole identity. It's their whole worth and value. They never shut off. They know I have clients right now. This is what we're doing. The main project, they came to me to help grow their business. But what has been discovered through the reason why their business isn't growing is because they are the cog in the wheel. They are the plug in the pipeline. Everything revolves around them. Everything is somehow connected to them. And we got to let them free things up, because at the end of the day, they're going to retire, they're going to die, and no one's going to remember them. And things will go on. And you're just not that important. I'm not that important. We will be forgotten. And so stop stressing so much. Stop worrying about what others are thinking and what others are, I just think that that's one of the reasons we don't rest and refresh. We're just so worried about what others think and what others think, Anyway, you get it. Physically, mentally, recharge. How can you do that over your weekend? Finally, emotionally. This is why, people go to church. People hang out with friends. People, date nights are usually Friday night, Saturday night. Why? Because the weekends is a great time to fill our tank. And again, how can you fill the tank of others? But don't fill the tank of others at the expense of your own tank, right? How can you refill your tank? Who should you hang out with? What should you do? What's not we got to have this huge epic date night thing. Enjoy it. Figure out what that looks like with relationships. If you're married, with your children, how can you reset physically, mentally, and emotionally on your weekends? How can you, yes, there's some responsibilities that you have to do personally. That's a great time, but your whole weekend can't be dominated by that. Give that a specific section, a specific time frame. That will help you too, because if you say, I only have 3 hours on Saturday from X to X to do this stuff, boom, you're going to hit it with that much more intensity to get it done. If it's just, well, here's my honey-do list and here comes the weekend, that's why honey-do lists never get done and they just grow longer and longer, because there's no urgency and intensity. There's no focus. It's just like you want to be doing something else, but you feel the pressure to do this. So you kind of play around with the list while you kind of play around with what you want to do. You never accomplish either. You never get good rest and you never get anything done on the honey-do list. So how about this? How about say from now on, just have a good conversation with your spouse and say, I'm going to give that this many hours on this day. The rest of the hours, don't bother me with it, right? And again, if your spouse, like you got to have, a whole nother podcast. It's just amazing to me how piss poor communication is between spouses. Lots of expectations, lots of assumptions, and not good communication. Start communicating. And again, communicate out of love, like you want to love each other, but you have to have a tank that's not running on fumes to be able to love. Love is an action. Love is action. And love is not thoughts. Love is action. And you can't act. Your car will not move unless it has fuel in the tank. It will not run. It'll just sit there and look good, maybe, if you actually washed it. And so I think that's a lot of people. I'm thinking good things. I want to do good things, but you have nothing in your tank to act. You have to fill your tank so that you can pour out. And so be mindful of that. Your weekend is a time to fill your tank. This goes back to Jewish thought on Sabbath, a day of rest. Make yourself have boundaries on your weekends so that you don't continually say yes to everything that comes your way. Just the intoxication of kids' sports and running ragged and trips. Why are you taking trips? The kid is in bloody middle school and you're driving halfway around the country to go to a volleyball tournament where sixth graders are going to make a mockery of bump set spike, and you think this is actually helping your kid and you? I maybe. Again, I won't make a definitive statement. I'll just say I would question that. I don't think that's doing what you think it's doing. And maybe it is. Maybe your kid loves it and maybe you love it. Man, if that's the case, then awesome. Then again, I think that's something. That's all I care about is you considering. Is it filling your tank? Is that the way you have quality time with your kids? Your kids love it. You love it. You're refreshed. You hit Monday going, man, that was a great weekend. If it's not, if you hit Monday going, dear God, where was my weekend? I slept in a crappy hotel watching my kid not play and frustrated and I wasn't I was the worst version of myself because I'm tired from my work week and now I'm mad at referees who are just poor, community members trying to do a good thing. And here I am ragged because the 2 minutes my kid gets to play, they got fouled and it wasn't called and blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Like, evaluate your life and just do a check-in and say, am I really doing things that are healthy for me and for the people around me? And make some decisions. I want to encourage you to think about that. Think about your weekends. What are you saying yes to that you're saying yes to for the wrong reasons? What are you saying no to that you should be saying yes to so that you can fill the tank? Again, don't worship yourself. Don't become my weekends are only for me and, some selfish weirdo. Your tank doesn't need to be overflowing. It just needs to have some fuel in it, right? And I think it's healthy to run the gas tank at least half full or more. So fill your tank up. That's all I have to say. Oh, we talk forever. Tune in next time. We talked about the day, how to get the most out of your day with rest and rejuvenation. Now, this episode, we talked about the weekend, how to get the most out of resting and rejuvenating. Give yourself some things to think about and to chew on when it comes to maximizing your weekend. Next episode, we're going to talk about extended time away from work. It's summer vacations. How are you thinking about vacation time? How are you thinking about your year when it comes to how to use your vacation time? That's what we're going to chew on. If you want to maximize your life, both personally and professionally, you want to experience more joy and less stress, I want to encourage you, book a call with me. I'm going to ask you 3 specific questions. It takes 15 minutes, and I believe it will get you moving in the right direction towards personal and professional growth. It'll help your business grow if you're an owner or a leader, and that's what I'm here to do. See you succeed in every area and aspect of life. I'm Seth Winterhalter. This was the Halting Winter Podcast. Until next time.